Hello, and welcome to another episode of My So Called Fabulous Life, the podcast, with your host, me, Shawn Lee. And today's topic is going to be cutting the cord. So, if for you who are just probably tuning in, this is a journey of me becoming an empty nester. So, this podcast is about my emotions, things that I'm learning, what I'm going to get into next, how the update on the kid. This is her senior year, and I'm telling you, I am absolutely excited about the possibilities to come. But for now, I am struggling with cutting the cord. Jasmine is my only child. So at this point, it's one of those things that, I love her to pieces and I want her to be great and do amazing things. But she's about to learn some life lessons. So not only does she graduate this year, but she's turning 18 this year. So mommy will not be able to be present at all times on her decision making or things of that nature. So it's time for me to let go. I'm struggling. I'm not going to lie. I am struggling because when you see someone that you love, whether it's your child or whomever, but especially your child, you don't want them to go through the things that you went through, and you want to kind of try to guide them in a certain direction, but you really can't do that. You have to allow them to kind of experience some heartbreak, experience some things that they should learn from. So when it comes to letting go, what I'm struggling with is what amount of guidance do I provide? Because I'm still a parent, of course, I'm still a parent. Whether when she graduates and turn 18, I'm still a parent. So I'm gonna always be a parent forever. But as far as providing the guidance, what's too much? What's not enough? When do I step in? How do I step in? Don't want to take over because I do have been told that I have the takeover spirit. So I don't want to, overstep. I want to create a safe environment for her to share, a safe environment for her to talk through whatever it is that she's talking through, thinking about decision making wise, and help her come to her own conclusion with that. So right now I'm in the process of new techniques on how to do that. So I'm actively listening, and I'm listening without wanting to react. And that's kind of hard because I just want to jump in, stop. So I'm listening, taking in the information. I basically respond with what exactly it is that she said, what I think that I heard her say, and ask her, putting it back on her and asking her, what do you think is the best way to handle that? And just allowing her to talk. Not saying nothing like, that's wrong. No, just allowing her to talk. And then once she comes to that conclusion, I'm asking her, is that do you think that's the best decision, or maybe there's something else that could be done? Like, what do you think? So I'm putting it back on her, getting her to talk through it. And that seems to be working. So if you're a parent out there and you're thinking to yourself, like, oh my goodness, I just don't know what to do, try it. Listen, allow them to come to you. Listen, repeat it back to them. Take a moment and say, okay, so this is what I hear you say. You're saying that there's this situation here at school, and this young lady doesn't care for you, and you feel in a certain kind of way. Well, how do you feel you should handle it? Like, what do you feel like you should say? Or do you feel like you need to say anything? Let them talk, let them get that out, and then say, okay, so if you do that, and will that make you feel better? Or is there a different way you could probably handle it? And, that will make you feel comfortable, make you feel better about the whole situation. This is just examples, but this is how you got to do it. And you just got to listen and recite back some information and ask questions for them to respond. And that seems to be working. So that's a good way to provide guidance without taking over or having the takeover spirit is taking over. It also allows you to practice listening. Just practice listening. And when the one thing that I am noticing is that helps Jasmine thrive is complimenting her on her decision making, complimenting her on her choices and things of that nature. I didn't realize how important it is because everybody likes a little bit of validation. I don't care what people say. People will say, I could care less what people think, or I'm not trying to please anybody, yada, 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 yada. But to a former people pleaser, we do seek validation in some things, and that's just normal. So make sure that you're complimenting your children, even as they get older, on the good decisions and the things that they are doing well. Compliment them. Take a moment to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm proud of you on how you handled that. I'm proud of you on making that decision. I'm proud of you on X, Y, and Z, whatever it is." Make sure you take the time to say that because they need to hear that. That needs to be reinforced so that they know I am doing something good. I am doing something right. As much as we want to think that we weren't trying to make our parents proud of us, we were. I was. I was trying to make my parents proud of me. So I I got all A's. I did everything that I needed to do. And so sometimes when you give your child that validation that they are doing things right, they are uh, handling situations and getting good grades and whatever it is that they're doing awesome, celebrate them. When you do that often, that gives them the confidence they need to continue to make good decisions. And that's what we want. We want to encourage the good decisions and we want to let them know, hey, you got this. You can do this, you got this. So I encourage you to make sure that you take the time out to do that uh, at all costs because it's important. It's just so, so, so important. And so, with that, we're going to transition into making sure you're telling your kids that you love them. It is amazing to me that there are so many people out there that I know that their parents didn't tell them that they love them that often, or they very like rarely said it like it was a special occasion or a, a treat or something to be told I love you. I feel the more that your child especially hears that you love them, which is also followed by your actions, that allows them to know what love should look like. What love should look like and how it should feel coming from a parental unit. So when they look for or they grow up and they go off into the world and they look for it in their friends or they look for it in their mate, they know what true love really looks like. And, we're our kids' first loves, if you think about it. A mom and a dad are their kids' first loves. And that's the person who they attach themselves to and they they love, they experience life with, they go to for everything. Um, it is like no matter what you do, it's like they just love you to pieces. Now there are times where they might act like they do not like you. Trust me, they still like you, they still love you, they just are having their moments. But oftentimes I think that if you hear I love you more, followed by the actions that show that I love you, that kids thrive. They thrive. They thrive on that as well as with the compliments because I think that that helps. And as they get older, they're in this stage of what do I do next? Some have it mapped out. Some kids know exactly what they're going to do, what college they're going to, what kind of career they want, and some don't. Some don't, and that's okay. I want to get away from us parents thinking that at 18 they have it all. And not even have it all, but they have enough to go out into the world and navigate through it. Because that's bullshit. They don't have enough at 18 years old to navigate through this world because I am about to be a cool 40 fab and it's tough. It's tough without I'll say without therapy, without some tools and some guidance, I don't see how anybody can get through it. So I can't expect Jasmine, my child, 18, turning 18, with no experience with life. And I mean none. Not no paying no bills. Right now, she's no job. All she does is go to school and she is being Jasmine. I can't imagine her to go off into the world and navigate through it without no experience. That's foolish of us to think that. And to think that as a parent at 18, you're done. Hell no. I wish it sounds good. It sounds so good. Like, oh, you get 18 or even 21. Oh, you get 21 and it's over. Not the case. So, parents, I challenge you to make sure that you are reinforcing with compliments and tell them that you love them and don't make them feel pressured to have it all figured out. That's not fair to them. That's not fair to you because only you'll be disappointed in the end. And one more thing, I think that we have to stop telling ourselves that um, we we want our children to go off into the world and learn these lessons and they'll be fine. They have to figure it out because we figured it out. Yeah, we figured it out, but the world is not nothing like how it used to be when we were young. And that is an absolute fact. I've been working since I was 14 years old. And it's just, I didn't have social media. I did have a pager though. I mean, when I got older, I had a pager, but there was no social media. There was not instant access at our fingertips for us to compare lives to. It's you saw who you were hanging around, you saw their lives, you saw single parent households, you saw um, the people that you could touch and that you could see. That's what you knew, you know? And so our kids have access to much information, so much information. And I tell you that it has been a challenge to sit back and kind of not get all up in Jasmine's business, but I do phone checks. I haven't done one in a minute, which I probably should do that. But I do phone checks because you want to know who they're talking to, what they're talking about, how the conversations are going. And at the end of the day, it's all about keeping them safe, you know? So it's about keeping them safe. And so oftentimes we as parents, we let them go off into their rooms and just do whatever it is they're doing. Most of the time they're just talking on their phones to their friends, but they're isolating themselves because I feel like they don't have a lot of people skills. Like they don't know how to interact with people, ask questions, simple questions. Good example, Hobby Lobby. So my daughter needed to do her senior board. And keep in mind, she's 17. She has a list of what she needs. And so I told her, I'll send you the money, just go in there, get what you need, because I didn't really feel like getting out, but whatever. So she looks at me with almost tears in her eyes. And she's like, I gotta go in there by myself. And I'm like, yeah, you're 17, you're about to be 18 years old. You can go to the store by yourself. So for her, it doesn't register like I can go in here, I can ask for help, show someone my list, and have them point me in the direction in which I should go to find these items. That's common sense, and that is something that they don't think of first. We have done a disservice to our children to not engage enough with them because I feel like, and I've seen it more times than I would like. I have even been guilty of it myself, sitting somewhere with Jasmine and on our phones, not engaging in conversation, not talking to each other. So no wonder they don't know how to talk to another human being. Just call about their school schedule or call about their work schedule or whatever. It is, if you have not heard a teenager speak, and I am telling you, if you've not heard a teenager speak and try to be a young adult without having to ask you 50 gazillion, 11 million questions, it's torture. And I think that we as parents, we need to take some time out and definitely have conversations with our children. Let them know, like, hey, when you're going to a place of business, you need to be able to hold a conversation. You need to ask the right questions to get the right answers for what it is that you're needing to do. Instead of allowing our kids to stay in their rooms and, be to themselves and on their social media or playing video games, whatever it is that we just allow them to do in their room, I think that it's important that we should spend more time with them and having those conversations and help them navigate through what it looks like to be a young adult. I was telling myself, I was like, I want to be able to when Jasmine does leave the nest, I want her to be ready. I want her to be prepared. I want her to have a savings. I want her to definitely be able to fly and not flop, because that does neither one of us any good if she flops and she has to move back home with her mama. However, I will say this. I will create a space for my child to come back home if she needs to come back home. I mean, here am I, 43, 42, 41. I'm not for sure, but I went back home for about 90 days with my mom, and, I, just had a reset. I needed a reset, and I did that for 90 days, and it was probably the best thing that I could have done at the time to get to where I wanted to be. So I want to create that space for her. But since then, I had moved back home. I've been on my own since 19. I had not gone back home. So I was proud about that. Um, so I want to create a safe space for her to return home if she needs to return home. And granted, she might not come back home, but when she leaves my house, she will be ready and she will be prepared. And that's the most important. So, with all of that being said, cutting the cord and letting go. It has been a challenge. It's kind of emotional, and I'm not 100% ready, but I'm getting there as far as like allowing her to navigate through this young adult journey best that she can by providing her with some guidance without taking over, because that's most important, and using my tools of actively listening and less quick to respond and jump in, and just making sure that I allow her to talk through the decision, and once she comes to a decision, compliment her on the decision that she came to, and making sure that I tell her that I love her and that she knows that at any given moment that she has her mama to come back to if she needs to, and all of that good stuff. So cutting the cord. Again, it's been a challenge. If I had to give some advice to a parent who has not been through the senior year blues, it does get better. When you're in the senior year blues, it may seem like it's never ending, especially in the financial pockets. Like they need everything. Everything is everything, and they need everything. But I would say have patience, which I don't have, but I'm learning. I'm a I'm a work in progress. Have patience, be understanding, give yourself grace for not getting it all the way right as a parent in the moment. And just take a moment to take some deep breaths and really think to yourself, what is it that I need my child to learn in this moment? And how can I provide my child with that effectively? It all comes down to communication, and don't be afraid to say to your child, I don't know. You're not going to have all the answers. Some of the answers that you do have ain't the right answers, but that's what you know. So it's okay to say, I don't have all the answers. I don't know, but let's figure this out together. Uh, so yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. Thank you for being patient with me. I'm like super nasally and I don't know what's going on, but I know you guys can hear it. But thank you for rocking with me today. So this was my so-called fabulous life, the podcast. This episode was called Cutting the Cord. And until next time, I will see y'all when I see y'all. Be blessed.